Multiplayer games. We've talked about how servers work, and these are concepts that are certainly useful to understand as they relate very much to your experience within the game, both positively and negatively. So regional servers. What's the incentive to stay on yours? What do you get out of using a North American server if you're from North America? Hi folks, it's Falcon, and today on gameranx we ask the question, why does it suck to play on a game server from a different region? About a year and a half ago, we did a video called What is a Dedicated Game Server and Why is it Important? We covered a lot of the basics of game servers in that, but it was focused more on the mechanics than the actual user experience. I would recommend going back to that, as it does provide a nice little explainer on exactly what we're dealing with as far as game servers on a more general level. But today we're going to talk about something much more specific. Ping. Ping isn't just a term, it's actually a utility itself, applied in computer networks to test the reachability of any host on a network. The name actually comes from sonar terminology. Sonar uses a pulse of sound and waits for the echo to not only detect but create images in some cases of objects that are around the sonar. You can also think of a ping as what you're doing in Pong. Kind of, it's not one-to-one. Essentially, a ping is a round-trip time measurement. It sends a message from the current computer to the host computer and back again. However long that takes is your ping time. Ping can be measured in seconds, milliseconds, nanoseconds, and smaller measurements of time that I don't know the names of, but it's typically measured in milliseconds. We're talking about ping because we lived in a physical world. Data itself travels through physical cables or, in many cases, along waves through the air and bounces off satellites, is relayed back to another place in the world, where it then travels through more wires to its eventual destination. This process is not slow in the least. It's actually very fast, it's amazing, but it does take time. When you play a multiplayer game, you're essentially sending large amounts of commands to a server, and that server is interpreting those commands as well as sending them out to other players. That way, your avatar in all of the players' games is doing the same thing that you are pressing on your keyboard. It's a little more complex than that. There are lag reduction algorithms that do some math in order to try to predict what's going on and keep the game as free of lag as possible. But there are certain hard limitations regarding distance that, well, you just can't get around. The amount of time that data takes to travel through a network depends heavily on the quality of the network. If you live in an area that is primarily fiber optic cable with a very high quality provider, your ping is more than likely pretty good. But even in the United States, there are areas with very bad networks. Hell, there are even some rural areas with no networks. This situation is replicated throughout the world, and by the time data has made its round trip, comes back to you, and tells you what the other players are doing, it's most likely traveled through networks of varying qualities. So combine these two factors, both distance and varying quality of network. You, in your bedroom playing a game on your amazing network, decide that you're going to join the server in, let's say, Dubai. Now, Dubai's network infrastructure is pretty good, actually. So the main thing you're really contending with is distance, and again, because the network is good on both ends, isn't terrible. Or at least shouldn't be terrible in theory. I'm not saying that you've never played a game with someone in Dubai and the experience was bad. I'm saying that in theory it should be good. But let's say you make the decision to play on a Russian server. Now, besides the fact that Russians obviously don't speak English and the fact that most of the servers in a nation tend to be occupied by people from that nation, again, they're trying to avoid lag as much as they can as well, you're dealing with both the distance issue and the fact that Russia has got a fairly janky network. Their internet is not what you would call the highest of high tech, and that's not the people of Russia's fault, certainly. They're just wanting to play games like anyone else. The reality is you're not dealing with the best network in the world, and, well, internation play there could be better. Now, despite China having an incredibly high-focused gaming community, China does also suffer from infrastructure issues as well regarding their networking. In fact, recently there's been a lot of complaint about people living in Asian countries like China and South Korea taking advantage of the lag in order to farm kills. And this goes for just about any game you can imagine. I've seen complaints about it in Battlegrounds, I've seen complaints about it in League of Legends. It generally seems to be a very widespread problem and allows more points or kills or items, or even manage to, in some ways, scam some loot crates. Now, in the past, I've taken a pretty absolutist stance on cheating in online games, and I'm pretty sure everybody else here at gameranx backs me up on the idea that is bullshit. Don't do that. And that's why we're not going to explain exactly how they're doing this. We don't really want to arm people. That's kind of a detraction of experience, and we all want a good experience in our gaming. But just know that people take advantage of the physical limitations of a network in order to cheat. This is why, although in a lot of ways it's very good to be able to have inter-country play, it's good that we're all connected as human beings, and we do need to interface more with people with different experiences than ourselves. It's not cool that either people in China use lag on your server to farm items, kills, points, etc., or that you connect to a Chinese server and do the same. I mean, you doing the same thing doesn't make it better. And I would say that lag farming, or whatever you want to call it, is a big contributing factor to why it sucks on playing on a game server from a different region. Obviously, having different ping times and taking advantage of the physical limitations of the technology that powers everything is the underlying root cause, and region locking obviously stops this dead in its tracks. But it's important to acknowledge that it's not just a technical problem, nor is it just a cultural problem. The tech breeds the culture. It enables people who want to use these technical limitations to gain an advantage to do just that. People do need to understand that culture derives itself from the environment in at least some respects, and creating an environment where tech enables cheating basically encourages the development of a culture that enables cheating. And again, this is something that is present both here, China, Russia, name a country that has online gaming in it. I promise you there's somebody abusing desync. Just like there's different cultures in different areas that have developed over many years of what is available, what is acceptable, etc. It happens in virtual worlds too. Now, it doesn't have to be cheating that ruins the experience for you. It could simply be lag. We can completely ignore the cultural aspect of this and still understand that there is a problem in intercontinental play. Or hell, even in the United States, which is a large country with a large number of variants in quality of network, someone on the West Coast living in, let's say, San Francisco, where the internet is freaking amazing, playing with somebody in Kansas, the experience isn't gonna be great. I do want to one more time acknowledge the fact that it is good when people can interface with each other from different countries, but we need to work on making the experience better. It doesn't just affect gaming, obviously. The quality of networks in various countries is important for their access to information. Networks obviously aren't just there for video games. They're there for a lot of things, and everybody should have better access. Not just for Overwatch, but for keeping a watchful eye over all of the things going on in our huge, amazing world. Have you ever dealt with people using lag to cheat? Or have you ever had an experience where lag did something utterly bizarre to you? Tell us what you're thinking about. If you enjoyed this video, please click like, and if you're not subscribed, now would be a great time to do so. We upload brand new videos every day of the week, and the best way to see them first is, of course, a subscription. As always, thank you very much for watching this video. I'm Falcon. You can follow me on Twitter at FalconTheHero, and we'll see you next time right here on gameranx.